They say the countryside is quiet, peaceful, rolling hills, thick hedgerows, the distant cry of a buzzard overhead. But if you ask the farmers of Gloucestershire or the walkers of Dartmoor, they'll tell you sometimes the land watches back. It started quietly, years ago. A sheep torn open in a field near Stroud. Locals muttered about dogs, but the wounds were too clean. The carcass had been dragged. No tracks, just hair, black, coarse, clinging to barbed wire. It was sent off for testing. The results? Panthera pardus, leopard. Most brushed it off. Escaped exotic pet, maybe, a fluke, but the sightings kept coming. One crisp November morning in 2024, a road worker near Baston in Cambridgeshire paused as he sipped his tea by the roadside. Something moved along the edge of the field. Too sleek for a dog, too large for a domestic cat. He fumbled for his phone. The shaky footage captured a black silhouette 6 feet long stalking the hedgerow with eerie calm. Experts argued over it online. Was it just a big moggy? But the tail, the size, suggested otherwise. Further north, in the wild borders of Northumberland, a holidaymaker hiking near farmland stopped dead. Across the pasture, a panther-like shadow padded through the long grass. It was the size of a small Labrador, but moved like liquid night. He filmed it, measured it against the fence posts later. The creature was real, and it wasn't alone. In Dartmoor that spring, a farmer's dog refused to leave the barn. Reports poured in, a black cat prowling the edge of the village. The police issued warnings. Parents kept children indoors. For days, people watched the moor's edge as if waiting for something to step out of the mist. Then came Cumbria. The Lake District isn't just home to Wordsworth and walkers. In its deep, silent valleys, sheep had started vanishing. What was left behind, when anything was disturbing. A swab from a carcass was tested by a private lab. The results were baffling. Panthera genus markers, lion, snow leopard, and fox. Too messy to be definitive, but not easy to dismiss. The tabloids called it the Beast of Cumbria. The scientists called for more evidence, but the locals, well, they just started locking their gates earlier at night. And then there's Galloway. Scotland has its own story, the legend of the Galloway puma. Back in the late 1990s, tourists and forestry workers claimed to see a huge black cat leap across logging roads and vanish between the pines. One morning in 2001, a woman walking her dog near Castle Douglas said it leapt at her from the underbrush. She screamed, the dog barked, and the shadow melted away. She never walked that trail again. You might think it's all myth, maybe just mass hysteria, or perhaps escaped pets from a bygone age of exotic collections. But year after year, the British Big Cat Society logs hundreds of new reports, 300, 500, sometimes even more. Farmers, hikers, police officers, all claiming to see the same thing, a shadow, a shape just too fast to photograph, too large to believe. But what if they're right? What if somewhere in the folds of the British countryside, far from towns and roads, in the deep woods and ancient moorlands, there is something watching, something silent, something that doesn't belong, but has somehow made a home, a black panther, a wild leopard, a legacy of abandoned pets from the 1970s, bred and hiding ever since. Or maybe hybrids like the Kellis cat of Scotland, a cross between feral and wild, bigger than either, born of survival and shadow. The evidence remains scattered, hair on fences, shaky footage, glowing eyes in a hedgerow, but the feeling that something is out there, that lingers. So if you ever find yourself walking a lonely country lane and the wind stills and even the birds seem to hush, listen closely, look twice. Because in Britain's green and pleasant land, the shadows have claws.